Hey everybody, it's Jason O. I'm back with another video. I want to thank you all for the kind words about the last video I put out. First time I ever did that, support means the world, and I'm so happy that everybody seemed to have gotten some value out of it. As you all know, my DMs are always open. Feel free to come and ask me anything at any time. Love the community that James has built, and I wanted to add more to it. So today I decided to use this new microphone I got and just riff a little bit about tonight's slate. And take a look at everything I'm seeing. I would love to hear you guys too afterwards and see what you guys are seeing. It's a big slate, and I think we can dive in and maybe find an edge. So let's start. So first and foremost, just as we started last time, I have my tabs set up. I have the matchup tables. I have 4 research tabs. I have the stack finder. I have the range of outcomes, the team range of outcomes, scoring percentages, the contest sims, the solver, and I have DraftKings and I have FanDuel up here too. So I definitely wanted to dive in and just kind of see what we can narrow down. As you all know from the last video, I do have my trusty sticky note here. So I will be adding notes here along as we go. So first things first, the first thing I want to look at, again, just as a reminder, is I always start with the matchup average trend column. You want to sort that from highest to lowest. And here is where you can really see which teams are in the best matchups for fantasy performance. This is totally dependent upon what their opposition has been giving up. So you can see here Arizona in a great spot. Arizona, Minnesota, New York, and Boston, the Mets. You have San Diego going against the Mets, the Dodgers against KC, and then you also have Pitt in Colorado, Houston, Detroit, St. Louis, Chicago, and so on and so forth. So when I sort by this, the first thing that I want to take note of is I look at Arizona right here. They're also a very high trending 8+ runs team. I think even if I sort this, I'm probably not going to find somebody higher. Yep, they're the highest one. Matchup trend too. They have the highest matchup 8+ trend. Just put Arizona in. Don't even think about it. I don't even care what they look like on the scoring percentages. They're a team we're going to consider tonight. Um, the next one, I look at Minnesota and Oakland. Are they even on the slate? Yep, they're on the slate. Okay. Sorry. Long day of work. I didn't even look at who's totally on the slate. But Arizona, yes. Minnesota is a team that we're definitely going to want to maybe consider or look into just based upon this alone. Boston and New York, obviously, Aaron Judge and the Yankees just light the entire world on fire. But thankfully, they are not on the slate. So that is one less thing we need to worry about. We have the Padres and the Mets. I'm assuming, yep, they're on it too. I know there might be some weather in that game, I believe. So just, tread carefully. You know what? Actually, let me actually pull up Roth too. Hold on one sec. We're going to go to MLB weather. Oh wow, okay. Roth actually it's a late starter full on postponed. So I'm not gonna even take a look at that game. When I see who's on the mound, you have Waldron and Mania. Waldron may be a little interesting, but his price is getting up there, and you don't want to play Mania against a team that doesn't strike out against lefties and has some power. Like you don't want to play him. So San Diego not in consideration. We're gonna want to take a look at LAD. And we're also going to want to take a look at, Pitt because they're there. And also, are they in Coors tonight? Probably. Yep, they're also in Coors tonight. The weather there a little dicey too. So maybe we'll wait and see. The one thing that I'm encouraged by though is that Pitt doesn't seem like they're trending for a high number, but they can beat up on anybody on any type of pitching. So we'll see, but we'll keep them in there for right now. When I look at the trending for 8+, I definitely want teams that are maybe going in the right direction too, on top of their matchup. So Arizona checks a box, great. Boston, New York not on the slate. LAD, yeah. You look at LA, the Angels. Maybe that's a team we want to look into. You want to take a look at Minnesota. We already have them. Maybe we'll look at Detroit. I know Houston's bullpen's been a little bit better, and Hunter Brown's been pretty good, so maybe we don't want to attack them. And is Baltimore and Philly on the slate? Yep, Baltimore, Philly also on the slate. How they looking with weather? Not bad, just a little rain. Okay, so maybe we'll go with them too, just for the purpose of the video. Okay, great. So now the next thing I want to do, I want to set up my research sheets again. We're gonna go bullpen data. We're gonna go stats versus left. We're gonna go stats versus right. We're going to set this to hitters, and we're going to leave it in the specific games tab. First thing I want to do is let's just look at the stack finder. Make sure I have the most up-to-date projections in there and everything. Let's run the stack finder and just see. All right, a lot of LAD. Texas, especially with LAD being expensive, that's very interesting to see them up here. Usually you see some cheaper teams here mixed with Texas and then some Philly. So right away, I have a feeling that when I go to the solver, it's going to be pushing some Dodgers, Texas, and a little bit of Philly on me. But let me set the range of outcomes to pitchers. I always use the P just in case I go switch to FanDuel really quickly because the SP will still show from DraftKings. So sort it by ceiling. Take a look at a second. Take a look at the team range of outcomes. Seeing Arizona, LA up top, San Francisco. Shout out to James for the breadcrumb notes this morning on Tyler Anderson. He absolutely sucks and he's going to get pulverized one of these days, and we want to be there when it happens. And here we have our scoring percentages tab. Yeah, Arizona, LA, San Francisco. Funny, you don't really see Texas up here, and they're facing Castillo, so that's a little interesting. They're popping as a value stack. And we're going to let the Sims run and do their thing. I'm playing small field, higher dollar today, so that's what I'm going to run on. We're going to do that. Now, let's go to the solver, and let's take a look at the slate for tonight. Just going to refresh it really quick. That's a lot of games. All right, first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to run it on projection with no settings whatsoever, just one lineup. What do we get? Sale, Bradish. All right, that's probably not a shocker, but we get, some Seattle, some Arizona, and some San Francisco. No LAD. A little surprised because the stack finder has that too. Now, let's go in and let's change our parameters. It's a big slate, so I want to use as much salary as I can. I always leave 500 in there just because I want to be able to pivot if I need to pivot. And I'm going to put our stacks at 5, 5, 3, and 2. If you want to add 4, 3 or 4, 4, be my guest, but larger slate, you want really want to prioritize correlation. So now, let's get out of this. Running on projection one more time. It's actually pushing a 5-man Seattle stack. That is very interesting. For some of you big, large field players, you would probably want to run on ceiling to see what difference you get. Yep, you get a more aggressive Seattle lineup with Seager, Ramos, and Soderstrom, three high upside one-offs. So now I want to set this for 100 lineups. I'm going to set a max of 60. And the other thing I'm going to do too first is I'm just going to let it run the way it is. I'm going to let that run. I'm going to let it do its thing. Let's go back to the contest sims. Let's see what we got. All right. Overall exposures started by starting pitcher. You have Kyle Bradish, Peralta, Sale, Green, Gossman, Tariq Skubal. You had the biggest edge in small field by playing Kyle Bradish today, it appears, followed by Peralta and Sale. You get the worst edge by playing Luis Castillo. Okay, maybe there's something to that Texas we were seeing in the stack finder. You also get a little less leverage on Hunter Brown. He's not crazy high owned, so I think if you still want to play him, you can. He's just not showing up as much. Team exposures. Okay, this is interesting. The scoring percentages, darling, the Chicago White Sox, pop in here as one of the top teams. Pittsburgh, too. No surprise, they're in cores. Toronto, Seattle, San Francisco, Detroit, Colorado, and Arizona down here. And there's actually quite a few teams that we didn't even look at on the Masters table. So I might want to go take a look at them and just see. But we'll add Chicago White Sox to the mix. We'll add Pitt. Oh, we're going to add Pitt. We'll add Toronto, Seattle, San Francisco. And yeah, we do have Detroit in there. Okay. And I'll throw Colorado in there just in case. So now I have these teams. Let me go back here. We're still running, but if I want to take a look at the stacks, with no parameters at all on ownership at all, you have 5-man Seattle, 5-man Detroit. These are the value stacks that they're looking to push tonight and the projections really like, which means that if you are playing small field, you should maybe think about incorporating these into your lineup. Also, I want everybody to know the contest sims themselves, These are meant to be used as a guide. This is not meant to be something as you should definitely be stacking 5 from here, 3 from Pittsburgh, 5 from Toronto, 3 from Seattle, whatever you want. It's just these amount of players are showing up the most from these teams in this specific sim run. So from there, I want to look at my pitcher pool and I want to curate it for the solver. So here right now, I'm seeing Bradish, Sale. Okay, Bradish looks mildly owned. Sale is going to be chalk. Peralta is going to be a little chalk, but probably in good matchups. And you have Schoolbull here, who seems a little overpriced based upon the people around him. There's not like a big screaming value up here outside of Bradish. So he's a guy that's probably going to be a main target of mine. Kevin Gossman, 8,500, also probably a decent target as well for value. When I'm searching for value too on DraftKings for pitching, I check this 2X column sometimes and I want to see, like you look at Ryan Feltner, he's almost projected, a median projection of 3X his salary. Ryan Feltner is probably a really, really good value today. I know Pittsburgh's been pretty much a letdown all season. Sean Manaea also too. That's a little surprising to see. Luis Ortiz and Spencer Howard, but you don't want to play Spencer Howard. But yeah, Bradish here too. Bradish is popping as one of the better values here, even at his salary, which is very impressive. You guys like Mitch Spence, Woods Richardson. Woods Richardson, that's actually something to note. A projection of 17.3 at 7,500. That's a pretty good value. So now take a look quick at these sheets, and I want to sort it by X slugging to both sides of the plate first. And I see here that Tampa Bay, Zach Littell is at the top. He's serving it up to lefties right now. He's got these home runs that he's giving up. He should be giving up one more in the sample, but he's given up a lot in the sample. The fact that there's still some negative regression here is pretty crazy. I want to look into Atlanta, if I'm going to pay the prices for them, but hard to believe a guy like Matt Olson is not a bad one-off for you today. Cole Reagans, that's very surprising. I think that's why LA's showing, because of their bats that they have on the left-handed side of the plate with Freddie and Shohei, and maybe even Jason Hayward if he plays today. But this is kind of impressive. He's not striking anybody out. He's not walking anybody. His true average is middling, but his expected batting average is bad. This expected home runs number, I think over the next few games that Cole Reagans plays, you're going to see this number skyrocket, especially when he's going against elite lefties. So now I'm already thinking everybody respects Cole Reagans. I might take a stab at the Dodgers at very low ownership. Just some other things to note here too. You have Sean Manaea against lefties. Feltner, I know Pittsburgh's got some really good lefties that are supposed to be good with O'Neill Cruz, Reynolds, some of these other guys. And I know Nick Gonzalez from the right side of the plate's been very good. But Feltner, yeah, true average not great. Batting average not great, but he shouldn't be giving up more home runs than he is. Probably okay. We'll look at him to the right side of the plate. But yeah, you go down here and you're like Ren Nelson against the White Sox. That might make some sense. Want to look into that. You have Gossman going against Cleveland, and Cleveland's got a lot of lefty power in a few of the guys they have, and they don't strike out a ton. So I'm going to verify all these thoughts, but that's my initial read here. And expected slugging for the right side of the plate. You have Spencer Howard, who's just abysmal, right? There's nothing here that's encouraging. The home runs, yes, but he's got a small sample size too. Like, this isn't encouraging. He fucking sucks. You have Logan Allen here against Toronto, and I know Toronto lets everybody down. Not really K'ing anybody. He's walking everybody. He's giving up a lot of power. I can see why Toronto's probably a really good stack, but I don't know if I want to attack that bullpen. Again, I'm going just off of what I know from my memory recently, but we will keep going. Chris Flexen, who's been surprisingly has had better outcomes than I think most people really, care to admit. But yeah, him too. A lot of power, giving up more home runs. Crazy. Ren Nelson too. So now we're seeing Ren Nelson to both sides of the plate. Not good. Chicago White Sox, you're going to want to probably put in your pool. Andrew Heaney, yeah, serving it up to right-handers, but we know who Heaney is, and Seattle has been mashing left-handed pitching today, and Texas's bullpen is terrible. So now that I got to look at those, I'm going to look at the bullpens really quick. When I sort by X slugging, Toronto, terrible. Colorado, terrible. If you get to Feltner, it could be a field day, so definitely that's not good. KC, very interesting. Chicago's right there. Are they on the slate today? No, they're not. Don't need to worry about Chicago. Yeah, you look at this, you're like, wow, okay, maybe the Dodgers make a lot of sense. They have a very high expected batting average. They're giving up a lot of power. They're putting a lot of guys on base. They're putting the ball in play two in the upper tier of teams. They're giving up the third highest average, and they are not striking anybody out whatsoever. It's not good. So yeah, if I'm everybody, I'm really considering LAD today. So now Arizona, Miami, also serving it up. Arizona makes sense. You have Ren Nelson on the mound, terrible bullpen behind them. Chicago White Sox probably a value stack that's gonna fuck today. So now I'm taking note of some of these. Yeah, you'll see Miami, LA. But looking like this, these teams are. I think we have an idea who we want to target. When I go to the bottom, though, you see Cleveland down here at the bottom and everything. This probably puts me off Toronto. I know bullpens are very up and down, but with how much Toronto has failed, I just don't want to attack Logan Allen and the elite arms that come behind him. So now we finish running this here. We'll come back to the solver. Yep, Seattle, Detroit. Okay. And some other mini stacks. Now what I want to do is I want to curate my stack pool, and then I want to curate my pitching pool. So we like Arizona, obviously. I think the Sheets really liked Sheets did like Arizona as one of the top teams. We'll go Minnesota. And I'm just going to throw all the teams in here that I've seen are popping in any sort of run that we've gotten or popping in the sheets with the data that we're seeing. Do Colorado, throw Philly in there. Texas was popping in the stack finder. And we'll throw San Diego in there just in case they actually play. And am I missing any other teams? Oh, Baltimore, Chicago White Sox, because they seem to be popping everywhere. And I know it puts me off Toronto, but who am I to tell sheets and projections who they do and don't like? So you want to just put all the same teams in the rest of these too? Oh shit, I forgot. No, okay, I put Minnesota. Sorry, long fucking day. Philly, Pitt, San Diego, Seattle, Texas, Toronto. I know everybody's probably thinking that this is a lot of teams that you're going to have in consideration. I will tell everybody this till the cows come home. You do not want to exclude any batters whatsoever from your runs. If it's a pinch hit risk, I get it, but I really don't think you should get any batter that could possibly be projected well or have high upside, not in the realm of possibilities for you to have. You should absolutely keep them in. Okay, got them here. Now what I'm going to do is I have this 60% max player exposure just for the purpose of the run because I want to see like who's going to pop the most, and I want to give myself some other options. I'm going to set the 5-man at 15. I'm going to set the 3-man. I want to set the 3-man at 5 because I want it to rotate as many minis as it possibly can. When I go to pitching and you're curating the pool, I know I went and looked at the sheet of the projections. You sort by value down here. You could take a look, and I don't want to dive totally into pitcher projections because it's going to be a long video. But like Tyler Anderson, you don't want. Luis Castillo doesn't project well. Logan Allen kind of sucks, and Chris Flexen, it's Arizona. No, thank you. Hunter Brown, I know the sheets kind of, the breadcrumbs really liked him a little bit today. I'm not loving this projection, but I'm going to keep him in there. Maybe he comes on the right side of variance. Heaney projects as a little bit of a value, is over 2x, but I think Seattle can rake tonight, so he's out. Reagan's no. Ranger Suarez, I don't think I want to attack Baltimore with a lefty. Hunter Green, yeah, no, I'm good. Red Nelson, all set. Tariq Schoolbull against Houston doesn't strike out a lot. Yeah, no, thank you. Mitch Spence, he pops as a pretty good value, so I'll keep him there, and he's going to be low owned. Spencer Howard, no. Gavin Stone, no. Woods Richardson projects a lot better than I thought. He's going to stay in the pool. Matt Waldron also does too, but I don't think I really want to attack the Mets. I don't think that game's going to play. Gausman against Cleveland. This is the one team I am going to take a look at. So in this split, they have a few guys that are very good slugging numbers. They have one guy who strikes out a lot. Everybody's down here. And Gausman has had some games where he's not finding his K rates as much. I'm not going to play Gosman today. I mean, everybody can if they want to. He's not in consideration for me. I'm going to keep Peralta in there. Luis Ortiz looks like a pretty good value, but I don't know if I want to mess with the Rockies and Coors. He is a righty though, so maybe I will. Feltner, I'm probably going to move off of just because they're in Coors and they have some lefty bats that can really do some damage. And Zach Littell looks like he's projecting well, and I'm assuming that's because outside of Olsen, their lefties are not great. And Kyle Bradish. So this is my pitching pool. I'm going to let it run for another 100. Since I'm playing small field, high dollar, I'm going to do projection and ceiling. I'm going to let that run. Just some other teams that maybe we want to take a look into as regard to hitting today. Let's take a look at the White Sox because they were popping a lot. So the White Sox have some K percentages here that are not great. You know, you can K the White Sox, but they could also hit you pretty hard too. DeYoung, Vaughn, Sheets, Tommy Pham's supposed to be back, Luis Robert. Even half these guys have some pretty good expected batting averages too. I think Chicago is probably a pretty good stack today, especially against Red Nelson in this horrendous bullpen. Some other ones that were a little questionable, I thought, were let's take a look at Detroit. Okay, Gio Urshela, who's come alive lately, Vierling, Green. All right, they have 1, 2, 3, 4. They have 6 guys right now that are hitting slightly above or at or above the average of slugging in the entire league. They have a few high strikeout guys, but not much. Decent home run plate appearance. Event for plate appearance, not great. Looks like they're not going to run a lot. All right, Detroit's maybe one if I get a lot of it, I'm not going to mind. I really, really want to take a look at Seattle. Because when we looked at Heaney before, we saw 21% strikeout rate, not great. Walks are fine. True average, not great. Should be worse, though. That's a very high expected slugging. That's a lot of home runs. Dude, just look at this in this split. Victor Robles, Mitch Garver, Julio Rodriguez, J.P. Crawford, even Dylan Moore. Like, I know he Ks a lot, but the guy's got some power too. Yeah, Mitch Haniger. I know Cal Riley, not great here, but look at this X home run for plate appearance. Ryan Bliss, Cal Riley, J.P. Crawford, Mitch Garver, Dylan Moore. Event for plate appearance is also nuts. When I'm looking at the bullpens here, yeah, Texas not giving up a great expected slugging. Their bullpen's walking a lot. Expecting average batting average is okay. They're putting a lot of people on base. Trending for A+ runs matchup. Yeah, even I don't even have to. Seattle's okay. All right, it's the one thing they have one of the lower average matchup trends, but I think everybody should probably consider some Seattle today. So now I let this run. See our pitching exposure. Gave me Bradish, Littell, Sale, and Peralta. So what I'm getting from this is that it's forcing in high-end pitching, meaning we're probably going to have lower dollar stacks. Yep, Seattle, cheaper than the most, showing a lot. Arizona, cheaper than most, showing a lot. Chicago White Sox, Detroit, Texas, San Francisco. And you're getting more LAD 2-mans than you are 5-mans into Minnesota. So overall, to close out this video, strategy today for me, what I'm thinking is you probably want to focus on the higher dollar pitching if you can. Some of these combinations are pretty good. I mean, Zach Littell is middling, but he looks like a pretty sharp option today at 8,000. Bradish, Sale, Peralta, get him in your lineups. And then I probably want to lean on these stacks. Last thing I'll do to close out the video, I know a lot of you might play some 3-entry max too, maybe some single entry. I'm going to spread this across 3 lineups right now with the same parameters. And I'm getting 5-man Seattle, 5-man Chicago White Sox, 5-man Detroit. It is value stack season. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and good luck tonight. Let's all cash and win big.